All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this is the juice. The juice is essentially my recap of every tournament. So this is the juice from Lake Chickamauga for the Toyota Series Central Division event. So the juice videos are presented by Fish USA. If you guys aren't familiar with Fish USA, they're a huge online tackle retailer. They have everything you could ever want for fishing, not just bass fishing, all things fishing. So if you guys need any tackle, head on over to Fish USA. They got competitive pricing and a huge selection in stock, ready to ship, and it'll get it to you real fast. But today we're gonna jump in and I'm gonna show you some tackle and baits that I used on Lake Chickamauga for a decent finish in the last Toyota Series event of the year for the Central Division. All right, guys, so this is actually a little bit different than what we've been doing, so right after the Chickamauga tournament finished, right after I weighed in, we had a huge storm blow through. It was some wicked winds and rain, thunder, lightning, all that. So I actually ran straight back to the house, and we had another tournament here this week. We got a back-to-back tournament coming up. So I really took all my rods and reels and tackle and everything and cut everything off and started working on tackle for Guntersville, and didn't even realize that I had forgot to shoot the juice. It was a chaotic couple hours going on there, and I just wanted to start preparing for Guntersville. So these are actually all my rods rigged up and ready for Guntersville practice, but I'm gonna go through the Chickamauga tournament, kind of explain how the days went and the baits that I was using there. So we'll start with day one. We started out, we were about 211, so we were pretty far back in the pack, and I had a couple groups of fish, offshore fish, that I wanted to start on. So I started on one of those. There was another boat there, surprisingly only one other boat there. Fished around there for a little bit, didn't catch anything, and then I made a move to my second spot, and that's where the bulk of my damage actually ended up going down. So we pulled in there, and my co-angler, he caught a nice, I don't know, 6.5 pound fish on the big shaky head first thing. And then a couple casts later, I caught my biggest fish, 6.5, 6 3/4, 7 pounds. I don't know how big it was. It was a big one. And I caught that on a big white hair jig. So one of these guys right here, just a big bucktail hair jig. Looks like a shad swimming down through the water. You work this very erratically, and those big ones just come up and inhale it. So I was throwing him on 15-pound Seaguar and VizX fluorocarbon, a favorite Hex 7'5" medium heavy rod, and a 7.3 to 1 gear ratio favorite Soleus XCS reel. And that caught me that really big fish right off the bat on day one. It kind of set the tone. It took a lot of pressure off because I wasn't sure what else I was going to be able to catch that day. So I caught a big fish on the hair jig. After that, we stuck around there a little bit longer. My co-angler caught another nice one, probably a 4.5 pounder. So he was sitting good with just 2 fish from there. So we really spent a lot of time there. I tried a lot of different finesse baits, through a Ned rig, through that Bass Cave tackle, deadhead, with just a finesse TRD from Z-Man, and the big TRD as well. I was just alternating through a bunch of different finesse baits to try and get those fish to bite, and they never really fired up again there. So it was probably halfway through the day, 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I'm still sitting on 1 fish. So I decided to make a run to the bank and try and catch some spawning fish. After I caught a couple bed fish, I'm sitting on 3 fish around, I don't know, 2:30, 3 o'clock, and I kind of started scrambling a little bit. I went and fished some docks, was able to catch my 4th keeper, just flipping a little jig, just a little prototype Epic Baits jig, just a little craw trailer. Throwing that on the favorite Hex 7'6" heavy, and 20-pound Seaguar Tatsu fluorocarbon, flipping that around a docks that had, you know, quite a bit of fish on in practice. Never really any big ones, so I didn't really plan on fishing them. But, you know, getting close to the end of the day and only sitting on 3 fish, I'm like, I better go catch something. So I ran to those docks. I caught number 4. And I was due in at 4:15, so it's about 3:30. I have 45 minutes left. I decide, you know what? I'm not here for points or anything. I want to make sure if I catch another fish, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a big one. So I ran back down to the school where I started this morning and was able to fill out my limit. I was able to catch another keeper, just a squeaker, just a, you know, 15.5, 16 incher. So I ended up having 5 fish for 14.5 pounds on day 1, sitting in decent shape. I think I was in 40th place or something like that out of 250 boats. That's pretty good. But I seen a lot of activity in the afternoon. When I went back to that ledge where that big school of fish was, I seen a lot more fish. I seen some fish coming up and eating shad. I was really excited to get back out there for day number 2. So we fast forward to day number 2 and this giant weather front rolls in pretty much overnight. We wake up, conditions are different. It's cloudy, it's rainy, a little bit windy, and the wind is blowing upstream. So anytime you're fishing a current oriented lake or river, that wind blows upstream, you're in for trouble. So I planned on staying on this group of fish all day and just waiting them out till they bite. Ran down there and spent a little bit of time throwing some, you know, big baits, some reaction baits, nothing. Finally pick up a little Ned rig and was able to catch just a real small keeper spotted bass, just a 12-inch spotted bass. So I caught him, and then probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock, that wind really picked up to 20, 30 miles an hour, blowing straight up the lake, and it was just unfishable there anymore. So I decided to run up the lake and just start practicing. I just went looking for new fish, and I was able to find a new group of fish and got settled down on there. And I think we caught 3 or 4 keepers off of it between myself and my co-angler. Again, that was all just on the finesse stuff, just the Ned rig with that Bass Cave tackle deadhead, 1/4 ounce, and the Z-Man big TRD got the job done that day as well. But it salvaged the day. You know, I ended up, I think, weighing in 4.5 pounds or something, just a couple fish. And I really didn't fall that far in the standings. You know, for having such a tough day, I only fell down to 99th place and finished up just barely inside that top 100. But anyway, it was a struggle of a day, struggle of a tournament, honestly. But I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, we're all regrouped. We got all the tackle redone, ready to go for Lake Guntersville for the pro circuit this week coming up. So I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you learned something. I know this was a tough one on me. It's hard to learn anything or hard to explain and teach you guys about things when I have a tough event, but hopefully you learned something. Leave me any likes and comments down below. Don't forget, check out fishusa.com if you're looking for any tackle, and we'll see you guys next time.